I need to get this out somewhere, anywhere, because if I don't, I'm going to lose my mind. 5 days ago, I came home early from a training exercise at Fort McNeil. We'd wrapped up the field ops ahead of schedule, and my commanding officer dismissed us at 1400 hours. I was pumped. Figured I'd surprise Corinne, maybe grab takeout from that Italian place she loves, spend the afternoon together before she had to leave for her evening shift at the Veterans Affairs office. I work as a major in the Army, been in for 22 years now. Started as an enlisted man at 19, worked my way up through the ranks. Combat deployments, staff positions, the whole 9 yards. Built a solid career. At 44, I thought I had it figured out. Nice house in a quiet subdivision off base, decent savings, retirement in sight. Corinne and I had been married for 12 years, together for 14. She's a veterans counselor, sharp, compassionate, driven. We met at a military appreciation event. Hit it off immediately. I proposed on a beach in North Carolina during a long weekend leave. She said yes without hesitation. It felt right. My family loved her. My mom was already talking about us giving her more grandchildren. My dad, a retired Army colonel, kept saying Karen was the best thing that ever happened to me. My younger sister, Bess, 38, social worker in Chicago, always said I married up. I didn't disagree. So 5 days ago, I pulled into my driveway at 14:45 hours. Saw Corinne's sedan parked out front. Normal. She had Wednesdays off. Grabbed my gear bag, headed inside. The front door was unlocked. Also normal. I walked in, heard voices from the kitchen. My first thought was she was on the phone, but then I heard a man's voice. Low, familiar. I stopped in the hallway. The kitchen door was cracked open. I could see through to where Corinne was standing by the counter, her back to me. Sitting at our kitchen table was Klein. Andy Klein. My former battle buddy from my deployment to Afghanistan. The guy who'd been my best man at our wedding. The guy who'd lived 3 streets over until his divorce 8 months ago. I never wanted to marry him, Corinne was saying. Her voice was quiet but clear. I thought I did. I thought stability was what I needed. But God, Andy, when I'm with you, I feel alive. Like I'm actually living instead of just existing. Klein reached across the table, took her hand. Then leave him. We can make this work. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Just stood there while my entire world collapsed. It's not that simple, Corinne said. Marcus has given me everything. The house, security, respect. How do I just walk away from that? Because you deserve to be happy, Klein said. Not comfortable. Happy. I stepped back. Carefully. Quietly. Walked back outside, got in my truck, drove to the base. Didn't think, didn't feel, just drove. I sat in the parking lot of the PX for 2 hours. Then I drove back home. Pulled into the driveway. Klein's car was gone. I walked inside. Corinne was in the living room reading a book. She looked up, smiled. Hey, you're home early. Good day? I stared at her. This woman I'd deployed to protect. This woman I'd built a life with. We need to talk, I said. Her smile faded. About what? I came home at 14:45. I heard everything you said to Klein in the kitchen. The color drained from her face. The book fell from her hands. Marcus, I don't. My voice was flat. Dead. I want you out of this house by the weekend. We'll figure out the divorce through lawyers. Don't contact me unless it's about the paperwork. She stood up. Please let me explain. Explain what? That you married me for stability? That Klein makes you feel alive? I heard it all, Karen. There's nothing left to explain. She reached for me. I stepped back. I'll be staying at the bachelor officer quarters on base until you're gone. You've got until Sunday. I packed a bag. Left. Checked into the BOQ. Sat on the edge of the military issue bed and stared at the wall. I texted Klein 30 minutes later. You're dead to me. Don't ever contact me again. He called immediately. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. Marcus, man, I'm so sorry. It just happened. We didn't plan. I deleted it before he finished, blocked his number. Then I called my parents. My mom answered. I told her what happened. She gasped, started crying, put my dad on speaker. I repeated the story. Calm, factual, no emotion. My dad's voice went hard. That's unforgivable on both sides. Military brotherhood means something. Klein violated that. I called Bess next. She answered on the third ring, voice groggy. Marcus? It's like 2 a.m. here. What's wrong? When I told her, she was silent for a full 10 seconds. Then, I'm booking a flight. I'll be there tomorrow. You don't have to. Shut up. I'm coming. She did. Flew in from Chicago, brought deep dish pizza and whiskey. Sat with me in that BOQ room for 6 hours. Didn't make excuses for anyone. Didn't tell me to forgive. Just sat there and listened. For 3 weeks, I thought I had my family's support. My dad called Klein and dressed him down. Bess told me she'd never heard him that angry. And Dad had been a colonel who'd chewed out generals before. My mom sent daily texts. We love you. We're here. Take your time. I started to believe I'd survived this, that I had people in my corner. Then, 3 weeks after my world imploded, I stopped by my parents' house to return some tools my dad had lent me for fixing a fence. I was walking toward the garage when I heard my mom's voice through the kitchen window. She was on the phone. Corinne, honey, I know you're hurting too. Marriage is complicated. Maybe you two just need some time apart. We still love you like a daughter. I froze. She was comforting her. Like Corinne was the victim. I stood there in the driveway, tools in hand, listening to my mother console the woman who destroyed me. And that's when I realized this wasn't over, not even close. I left the tools on the driveway, drove back to base. Didn't confront her. What was the point? The next family dinner invitation came 4 days later. Sunday lunch at my parents' place. A tradition since I was a kid. I ignored the text. My mom called. Marcus, sweetheart, we miss you. Please come. Is Corinne going to be there? Silence then. We're still close to her. We can't just cut her off. Watch me, I said, and hung up. My dad tried next. Called me from his home office. Used his command voice, the one that had intimidated lieutenants. Son, what Corinne did was wrong. Nobody's disputing that. But she's still part of this family. She made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk. She didn't accidentally tell another man I make her feel dead inside. Don't be dramatic. Look, I'm not asking you to forgive her tomorrow. But eventually, you're going to have to move past this. For the family. Why is it always on me to move past things? Why doesn't she have to earn anything back? My dad sighed. Because you're stronger. You've been through combat. You can handle this. I laughed. Actually laughed. Right, got it. I stopped going to family events, focused on work, picked up extra duty shifts, volunteered for additional training, stayed late at the office, came home to the BOQ, ate MREs, went to bed. Repeat. 3 months after the betrayal, Bess called me at 2300 hours. I need to tell you something, she said, and you're going to hate it. My stomach dropped. What? Corinne and Klein are together, like officially. Mom and Dad know. I was silent for so long Bess said my name twice to make sure I was still there. How long? I finally asked. I don't know, a few weeks? I just found out tonight. They were at Mom and Dad's house for dinner. Together? Yeah. And nobody thought to tell me? Mom said they didn't want to upset you, that you were healing and this would set you back. I wanted to put my fist through the wall. Instead, I said, thanks for telling me, and hung up. I confronted my parents the next day, showed up at their house unannounced. They were having coffee on the back deck. You're letting them date? I said. No greeting, no preamble. My mom's face went pale. Marcus, honey, just answer the question. My dad set down his mug. We're not letting anyone do anything. They're adults. We can't control their choices. But you can control whether they're welcome in this house. My mom stood. We're trying to keep this family together. I won't choose between you and Corinne. She's been part of our family for 12 years. She chose to leave, I said. You just chose her over me. I left before she could respond. Thanksgiving came. I wasn't planning to go, but Bess begged. Literally begged. Said she'd barely see me otherwise. That she missed me. That I didn't have to stay long. I caved. Big mistake. I walked into my parents' house at 1600 hours. The smell of turkey. The sound of football on TV. Normal. Familiar. Then I walked into the dining room. Corinne was sitting at the table. Next to her, holding her hand, was Klein. Nobody had told me they'd be there. I stood in the doorway. Every eye turned to me. My mom's face was hopeful, like she thought this would magically fix everything. I didn't say a word. Just turned around, grabbed my jacket, and walked out. Behind me, I heard my mom call my name. I kept walking. Nobody followed me to the truck. December hit. I worked through Christmas Eve. Told my family I had duty. I didn't, but they didn't need to know that. Christmas morning, Bess texted, "Please come tonight, just for a few hours. Do it for me." I stared at that text for 20 minutes. She'd been the only one who hadn't made excuses for Corinne, the only one who seemed to understand how gutted I was. So I went. I showed up at 1900 hours. The house was decorated like a department store display. Cars in the driveway, my parents, Bess's, Klein's truck, and Corinne's sedan. I almost left right then. Should have trusted my gut. I walked in. Everyone was in the living room. Christmas music playing. My mom spotted me first. Her face lit up. "Marcus, sweetheart, I'm so glad you came." She walked over, hugged me. I barely hugged back. Then I saw the rest of the room. Klein, Corinne sitting together on the couch. My dad standing near the fireplace. Bess on the love seat looking guilty as hell. My mom stepped back, hands on my shoulders, tears in her eyes. "This is what Christmas is about," she said. "Family, forgiveness, being together." I looked around at the faces staring at me expectantly. At Klein, who wouldn't meet my eyes. At Corinne, who looked like she wanted to disappear. "You ambushed me," I said quietly. "No, honey. We just thought—" "You ambushed me." My dad spoke up. "Son, we can't keep doing this. We're a family. It's time to move forward." Something inside me went cold. Perfectly crystalline cold. "You're right," I said. "It is time to move forward." I grabbed my jacket. My mom grabbed my arm. "Please don't do this to us." I gently pulled free, looked her in the eye. "I'm not doing anything. You did this." I walked out into the December cold, got in my truck, drove back to base. That night, I made a list. A real physical list of everything tying me to the city. My house could be sold. My duty station could be changed. I had enough rank to request a transfer. My friends were mostly military buddies who'd understand an assignment change. By New Year's, I'd requested a transfer to Fort Rogan in Virginia. 800 miles away. Far enough. By February, I was packing. By March, I was gone. I blocked everyone, my parents, Bess, Corinne, Klein. Changed my number. Deleted social media. Vanished. For 4 months, I heard nothing. Built a new life. New apartment off base. New routines. Started running in the mornings. Hitting the gym after work. Went on a few dates. Nothing serious, but it felt good to remember I was still a person. Then one Thursday in July, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Hello?" "Hey, it's Murphy, your cousin." Please don't hang up. I hesitated. Murphy had always been cool. Older, early 50s, retired Navy. We'd been close as kids but drifted as adults. What do you want? Just to talk. I heard about everything. I'm not calling for them, I swear. I just want to check on you. Can we meet for coffee? Just me. I promise. I should have said no, but I was lonely, and he sounded genuine. Fine, I said, but if anyone else shows up, I'm gone. Deal, he said. We set a date for the following Saturday, a coffee shop near my new place. I told myself it would be fine, that Murphy wouldn't screw me over. I was wrong. Murphy showed up alone. I got to the coffee shop 15 minutes early, scoped out every corner, checked the parking lot twice. Paranoid maybe, but I wasn't getting burned again. He walked in at exactly 1400 hours, saw me, smiled, came over by himself, no family trailing behind, no setup. We talked for 2 hours. He didn't make excuses for anyone, didn't ask me to forgive or forget, just asked how I was doing, what Virginia was like, if I was settling in. I'm good, I said, and I meant it. I'm glad, he said. You deserve to be. When we parted ways, he hugged me. Take care of yourself, and hey, if you ever want to grab coffee again, I'm around. I drove home feeling lighter than I had in months. A week later, I met Ginny. I'd started running at this community park near my apartment, 5 miles every morning before PT formation. That Sunday, I was cooling down by the pavilion when I saw her setting up tables for some kind of event. She was struggling with a folding table that wouldn't lock into place. I walked over. Need a hand? She looked up, wiped a sweat off her forehead. Please, this thing hates me. I got the table locked in 30 seconds, she laughed. Show off. 22 years of military training, I said. I've fought worse. Her name was Ginny. She was a physical therapist, volunteered at a wounded warrior center on weekends. They were hosting a community barbecue. She had auburn hair pulled back in a ponytail, blue eyes, and a smile that felt real. We talked while she set up. I offered to help with the rest of the tables. She didn't say no. By the time the barbecue started, I had her number. We went on our first date 4 days later. Dinner at a quiet steakhouse. She asked about my work. I asked about hers. No games, no pretense, just two people getting to know each other. I didn't tell her about Corinne or Klein or any of it. Not yet. That felt like baggage for a second or third date. But by the third date, I did tell her. All of it. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she reached across the table and squeezed my hand. That's brutal, she said. I'm sorry you went through that. No pity, no over-the-top sympathy, just acknowledgement. I fell a little bit in love with her right then. 3 months into dating Ginny, Murphy called again. Hey, so my birthday's coming up, he said. I'm doing a small dinner, just close friends, low-key. You should come? I hesitated. I don't know. I promise. It's just my friend group. Nobody from the family, Scout's honor. Ginny was sitting next to me on the couch. I put the phone on mute. Murphy's inviting me to his birthday dinner. Should I go? Do you trust him? Ginny asked. I thought about the coffee shop, how genuine he'd seemed. Yeah, I think I do. Then go, Ginny said. But if anything feels off, leave. I agreed to the dinner. The restaurant was downtown, a place I'd never been. Murphy texted me the private room number. I walked in, scanning for red flags. The room was set up with a long table. Balloons. A happy birthday banner, and sitting around that table. My mom, my dad, Bess, Klein, Corinne. Every single one of them. Murphy stood near the doorway, looking caught between hope and guilt. Like he knew this was wrong, but convinced himself it was right. My dad stood up. Son, we need to talk. I didn't move, didn't sit. My voice came out low, controlled, dangerous. What is this? My mom stood too. Please, Marcus, just sit down. Let's talk like a family. You ambushed me again. My dad took a step forward. You need to stop running. We're your family. You need to forgive and move on. Which person are you talking to? I said. Because it seems like you already picked a side. Klein finally spoke. Man, come on, it's been almost a year. Don't, I cut him off. Don't you dare. My dad moved closer, put a hand on my shoulder, firm. Almost aggressive. Stop being so selfish. This is tearing your mother apart. Something inside me snapped. I shoved his hand off my shoulder, hard. He pushed back harder. My fist connected with his jaw before I even realized I'd thrown the punch. The room exploded. My mom screamed. Bess jumped up, yelling my name. Klein lunged toward me. My dad staggered back, hand on his face, eyes wide with shock. I didn't wait. Didn't apologize. Just turned and walked out. My knuckles were already swelling by the time I hit the parking lot. I drove straight to Ginny's place. Told her everything. She held me while I sat on her couch, shaking. Not from fear, from rage. You did what you had to do, she said quietly. That night, I blocked every single one of them. New round of blocks. Changed my number again. Deleted every email account they knew about. I was done, for real this time. 8 months passed. Ginny and I moved in together. I got promoted to lieutenant colonel, started sleeping through the night again, stopped looking over my shoulder. Then one random Thursday evening, I was scrolling through my phone while Ginny cooked dinner. A notification popped up. A wedding announcement in a military spouse magazine. Someone had shared the link in a veterans group I was part of. I almost scrolled past. Then I saw the names. Andrew Klein and Corinne Hayes married Saturday, March 18th. There was a photo. Klein in his dress blues. Corinne in white. Both of them smiling. I stared at the screen. Ginny walked over, looked at my face. What's wrong? I showed her the phone. She read it, then looked at me. How do you feel? I waited for anger, for hurt, for anything. But all I felt was nothing. I don't care, I said, and I meant it. Life moved forward. Ginny and I fell into a rhythm. She'd leave early for her clinic. I'd head to whatever training exercise needed me that day. We'd meet back at the apartment, cook dinner together, watch terrible reality TV, go to bed. Simple. Peaceful. I didn't think about Klein or Corinne or the wedding. Didn't Google them. Didn't ask questions. They were ghosts from a life I didn't live anymore. 4 months after the wedding announcement, the letter started. My battalion's admin officer called me into her office. Sir, we received some mail addressed to you personally, she said, looking uncomfortable. It's marked personal and confidential, but it came to the battalion headquarters, so... She handed me 4 envelopes, all handwritten, all from my mother. Is this going to be a problem? She asked. No, I said. Won't happen again. I threw them in the shredder on my way out. Didn't open a single one. More came, different envelopes, different handwriting. My dad's block letters. Bess's looping script. I reported it to JAG as harassment. They sent a cease and desist letter to my parents' address. The letter stopped. Then came the emails. Burner accounts. Fake names. But I recognized the writing. My mom's rambling pleas. My dad's let's be reasonable tone. I set up filters. Deleted them automatically. Voicemails hit my office phone. I had the admin screen my calls. After 3 months of that, they finally stopped. Radio silence for 2 years. Ginny and I thrived. I got promoted again. She opened her own practice. We adopted a dog, some mixed breed rescue she fell in love with at an adoption event. Named him Krupp. We talked about the future. Kids, maybe. A house with a yard. Growing old together. It felt real, solid. Nothing like what I'd had with Corinne. Then, 2.5 years after I punched my dad, I got a message from an old buddy. McNeil. A guy I'd served with in my first deployment. We'd stayed in touch. Grabbed beers when I visited the old duty station for conferences. He texted, "Hey man, got something for you. Can I call?" I called him back. "What's up?" "Look, I don't know if you want to hear this, but I ran into your sister Bess at a bar last week. She asked about you. Asked if I was still in touch." My stomach tightened. "What did you tell her?" "That we text sometimes. She gave me a letter, asked me to send it to you. Said she'd understand if you didn't read it, but she wanted to try." "Don't send it." "Already did. Sorry, man. It's just a letter. You can toss it." It arrived 5 days later. Thin envelope. My name in Bess's handwriting. Ginny saw it when she brought in the mail. "That from her?" "Yeah." "You going to open it?" I turned the envelope over in my hands. "I don't know." I sat with it for 4 days. Finally opened it while Ginny was at work. It was short. 2 pages. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking you to call or write back. I just need you to know I was wrong. I participated in ambushing you. Twice. I made excuses for Corinne. I chose comfort over doing the right thing. You deserved better from me. I'm sorry, I've gone low contact with Mom and Dad. I see them maybe once every few months. Klein and Corinne, less than that. I can't be part of what they tried to force. It wasn't right. I hope you're happy. I hope you've built a good life. You deserve it. Bess." No return address, no phone number, just the apology. I put the letter in a drawer and didn't respond. But 3 months later, when Bess sent a single text to my office phone, "Is it okay if I text occasionally? I won't mention them. Just want to know you're alive." I replied, "Fine, but boundaries stay." We texted maybe once a month. Surface stuff, weather, Krupp doing something dumb, her work at the homeless shelter, nothing deep, but it was something. Through McNeil, bits and pieces of news filtered back. I didn't ask for it, but he'd volunteer information when we'd meet up. Heard Klein got fired, he mentioned once over beers. Drinking problem. Lost his contracting gig. Another time. Your parents divorced. Your dad moved to an apartment downtown. And later, Klein and Corinne are having problems. She's working 2 jobs. Heard they're drowning in debt. I nodded. Didn't comment. Didn't feel satisfaction or pity. Just nothing. Meanwhile, my life kept getting better. I proposed to Ginny at the park where we met. Got down on one knee right by that pavilion where I'd fixed her table. She said yes before I even finished asking. 5 months later, she peed on a stick and showed me 2 pink lines. "We're having a baby," she said, crying and laughing at the same time. I held her, felt something shift in my chest. This was my family now. This was what mattered. We told her parents, her friends, my coworkers, people who actually gave a damn. I didn't tell anyone from my old life. They didn't deserve to know. 7 months into the pregnancy, Ginny glowing, picking out names, setting up a nursery, I made a decision. I drove to the county courthouse on a Tuesday morning, filed the paperwork, paid the fee. 3 weeks later, I stood in front of a judge and legally changed my last name to Ginny's surname. Kelser. No more carrying the name of people who chose someone else over me. I was starting fresh. My daughter would carry a name built on love, not obligation. I walked out of that courthouse with the signed documents in hand, feeling lighter than I had in years. My phone buzzed as I reached my truck. Unknown number, but the area code was familiar. The text read, "Please, I know I don't deserve it, but I need to see you just once. It's important." Bess. I stared at the screen. Ginny was 8 months pregnant. We were painting the nursery this weekend. My life was finally perfectly stable, and here was the past, knocking again. I sat in the truck, finger hovering over the keyboard, trying to decide if I'd regret saying yes or if I'd regret saying no. I texted back, "Neutral location, public, just you." We met at a park 4 days later. Different park from where I'd met Ginny. I wasn't contaminating that space. Bess was already there when I arrived. sitting on a bench near the playground. She looked thinner than I remembered. Tired. I sat down, kept 2 feet of space between us. What's so important? She didn't look at me right away, just stared at the empty swing swaying in the breeze. I'm seeing a therapist, she said. Have been for about 8 months, working through everything. She suggested I reach out, not to ask for anything, just to apologize. Face to face. You already apologized, in the letter. I know, but I needed to say it to you, to see your face and tell you I know how badly I messed up. She finally turned to look at me. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect a relationship. I just needed you to hear me say it. I'm sorry for all of it. I studied her face, looking for manipulation, for angles. I didn't see any. Okay, I said. We sat in silence for a minute. You look good, she said. Happy. I am. I'm glad. She smiled. Sad but genuine. That's all I wanted, for you to be okay. I left after 20 minutes. It felt like closure, real closure. Against my better judgment, and after a long conversation with Ginny, I agreed to occasional texts with Bess. Nothing deep. She'd send pictures of Krupp if he did something funny. She'd ask how work was going. I'd respond with 1 or 2 sentences. It was surface level, safe. Months passed. Ginny's belly grew. We finished the nursery, soft yellows and grays, a crib we'd spent hours assembling, a rocking chair Ginny's mom had given us. Bess never mentioned Klein, never mentioned my parents, never pushed. One afternoon, 4 weeks before Ginny's due date, Bess texted, "Would you and Ginny want to come over for dinner? My place? Just us? I'd really like to meet her properly. Celebrate your engagement and the baby." I showed Ginny the text. She was folding baby clothes on the couch, humming along to some playlist. She looked up. What do you think? I think it might be fine. She's been respectful, hasn't crossed any lines. But I don't know if I trust it. Ginny set down a tiny onesie. Do you want to go? I thought about it, really thought about it. Maybe, if she's actually changed, maybe it's worth trying. Then we try, Ginny said. But the second anything feels wrong, we leave. No debate. I texted Bess back. Fine, when? She sent an address and a date. The following Saturday. 1800 hours. The week passed without incident. I kept waiting for red flags. None came. Saturday arrived. Ginny was having a good day. No back pain, no swelling. She wore a flowy dress that showed off her bump. I drove us to Bess's apartment across town. Nice complex. Quiet neighborhood? Normal. I parked, looked at Ginny. If anyone else is in there, we leave immediately. She nodded. I know. We walked up to the 3rd floor. I knocked. Bess opened the door. And behind her, sitting in her living room, my mom. Klein, Corinne. Time stopped. Bess's face crumbled. Please just listen for 5... I didn't let her finish. I took Ginny's hand. We're leaving. My mom stood up. Marcus, please. You're about to have a daughter and you didn't even tell us. I turned, looked at her dead in the eye. I don't have a mother anymore. Klein started to speak. I didn't even glance at him, just guided Ginny back toward the stairs. Bess followed us to the doorway. Please, I just thought... You thought wrong, I said. Ginny squeezed my hand as we walked down the stairs. Neither of us looked back. In the car, Ginny asked, Are you okay? I started the engine. Yeah, I'm done for good this time. I meant it. That night after Ginny went to bed, I sent one final message to Bess. You had one chance. You blew it. Don't contact me again. I blocked her number. Deleted the text thread. Erased every trace. Then I went through my phone. Any contact, any email, any thread connected to my old life. Gone. Deleted. Purged. I sat on the couch in the dark, feeling nothing but relief. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't open it. The text read, "Congratulations on the baby. You didn't even tell your own family. You're a coward." My jaw clenched. I stared at those words. Probably Klein, maybe my mom. Didn't matter. I typed back, "You're not my family. You never were." I blocked the number, but I didn't change mine. I wasn't running anymore. Let them scream into the void. Let them send all the messages they wanted. I was done reacting, done caring. They'd lost their power over me, and that was the best revenge I could ever have. 4 weeks later, at 0200 hours on a Wednesday, Ginny woke me up. "It's time," she said, gripping my arm. I drove her to the hospital, held her hand through 14 hours of labor, watched my daughter come into the world, screaming and perfect. They placed her on Ginny's chest. She was crying. I was crying. "Rogan," Ginny whispered. "Rogan Kelser." My daughter, my name, my family. Everything else was just noise. Rogan Kelser was born at 1636 hours, weighing 6 pounds, 11 ounces. She had Ginny's nose and my stubborn chin. When the nurse handed her to me for the first time, she opened her eyes. Barely. And I felt something I'd never felt before. Not love like I'd known it. Something fiercer. Protective. Absolute. This was my family right here in this room. Nobody from my old life knew she existed. I liked it that way. The first 3 months were a blur of diapers and sleepless nights. Ginny and I taking shifts while Krupp anxiously paced around the nursery. But it was good. Hard, but good. We got married when Rogan was 5 months old. Small ceremony at a botanical garden. Ginny's parents, her sister, a handful of close friends from work, and her practice. 35 people total. No drama, no surprise guests, no ambushes. I stood at the altar in my dress blues, watching Ginny walk down the aisle in a cream dress, holding Rogan in one arm while her dad held her other arm. Our daughter was part of our vows, part of our beginning. When the officiant said, "You may kiss your bride," and I did, I heard Rogan make a small noise. Not crying, just aware something was happening, and everyone laughed. It was perfect. No ghosts, no shadows, just us. 7 months after the wedding, my dad showed up at my battalion headquarters. And I was in my office reviewing training schedules when my admin knocked. "Sir, there's someone here asking for you. Says he's your father. Want me to send him away?" My stomach dropped, but I wasn't running anymore. "I'll come down," I said. I walked to the front gate. My dad was standing outside the fence, looking older than I remembered. Grayer, thinner. I didn't go through the gate. Just stood on my side, arms crossed. "What do you want?" He looked like he'd been preparing a speech. "I need to talk to you, please. Just 5 minutes." "You have 2. He flinched, then took a breath. "I was wrong about everything. I pushed you to forgive Corinne when you had every right to walk away. I chose keeping the peace over doing what was right. I'm sorry. Your mother and I are divorced now, haven't been together for over a year. And I realize now that trying to force everyone to get along destroyed us all. I waited, didn't react. I just want you to know," he continued, "that I'm proud of you for building a life, for standing up for yourself, even if it meant leaving us behind." "I didn't leave you behind," I said. "You pushed me out." He nodded slowly. "I know." We stood there in silence. I could see him trying to find more words. I didn't help him. "Your mother told me about the baby," he finally said. "And the wedding. She saw it on, I don't know, someone's social media or something. She's devastated she wasn't there. She made her choices." "I know." He looked down. Can I meet her? My granddaughter?" I felt nothing. No anger. No pity. Just a flat, empty calm. "No." His face crumbled. "Please." "I forgive you," I said. "I do. But I don't want you in my life. You, Mom, Klein, Corinne, none of you. I've moved on. I'm happy, and I need you to respect that. But she's my daughter, and I get to decide who's in her life. You don't get access to her just because we share DNA. My dad's eyes filled with tears. I'd never seen him cry before, not once. I understand, he said quietly. I nodded. Goodbye. I turned and walked back to my office. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. Through McNeil, I heard updates over the next year. I never asked, but he'd mentioned things in passing during our occasional meetups. Klein and Corinne divorced 3 years after their wedding. She left him for someone else, some accountant she met at her second job. The irony wasn't lost on me, but I felt nothing about it. Klein apparently spiraled after that, still drinking. Bouncing between contracts. My parents were still divorced. Dad was dating someone new. Mom was in therapy. Bess sent one last email 9 months ago. I saw the subject line in my spam folder. I'm sorry, I understand. I hope you're happy. I deleted it without reading it. Now I'm sitting on my porch. It's Sunday morning. Ginny's inside making breakfast. I can hear her singing to Rogan, who's 3 now, babbling back at her in that half-language toddlers have. Krup's asleep at my feet. The sun's coming up over the neighborhood. I've got a mug of coffee and nowhere to be. My name is on the mailbox. Kelser. My daughter's name is Kelser. I built this. I think about the man I was at 32. The one who thought family was everything. The one who believed blood meant loyalty. I know better now. Family isn't about DNA. It's about who shows up. Who respects you. Who chooses you as much as you choose them. I don't regret cutting them off. Not for a second. Not when Corinne betrayed me. Not when my parents chose her. Not when they ambushed me over and over. Not when I punched my dad. Not when I walked away from every single one of them. Because walking away gave me this. A wife who loves me. A daughter who will grow up knowing what real family looks like. A life built on my terms. They're still out there somewhere, living with the consequences of their choices. Klein's broke and divorced. My parents are separated. Bess is alone, caught between guilt and a family that imploded. And I'm here. Happy. At peace. Sometimes people ask if I'll ever reconcile. Co-workers who hear bits of the story. Ginny's friends who can't imagine cutting off family. I tell them the truth. No. Not because I'm bitter, not because I'm holding a grudge, but because I don't need them. I don't want them. And I refuse to let anyone back into my life who's already proven they'll choose someone else when it matters. Rogan calls from inside. Daddy, I smile, finish my coffee, and head in. This is my family now. This is what I chose. And I've never been more certain of anything in my life. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.